Since the trailer dropped a few days ago, fans have been speculating what the story of the latest Dexter series will be. So, here are some of the craziest Dexter resurrection theories out there. Harrison is now a full-blown serial killer. Harrison Morgan may be one of the most complex characters in the Dexter universe. Despite being filled with inescapable rage due to his father's abandonment and his mother's murder, Harrison also seemed to desire to be seen as a good person. He was so interested in being perceived as good that he staged an attack on a classmate in Iron Lake and allowed everyone around him to believe that he was a hero. Despite this eagerness to be loved and embraced by others, Harrison has an inner darkness, just like his father, that could lead him to kill those he deems bad for society or simply dislikes. It's important to remember that Harrison was not raised by Harry's code as Dexter was. He may not have the same reservations about killing people who are not murderers. Plus, Harrison correctly deduced that Dexter killed Coach Logan.
Open your eyes and look at what you've done!
With such a shocking realization and undoubtedly intense guilt over shooting his own father with intent to kill, many people wonder if Harrison caves to his own inner darkness and begins targeting people at will. He may begin believing, as Dexter has at many points, that he was irredeemable, unlovable, and thus had no reason to crave the acceptance of others. Still, the reason that Harrison shot Dexter was because he believed that what Dexter did to Logan was wrong. This shows that Harrison has strong feelings of morality and justice that Dexter lacks. With that in mind, if Harrison has become a serial killer after relocating to New York, there is a great possibility that he is also operating with his loose understanding of the code his father operated under. Either way, if he does indeed have a dark passenger, it's most likely inevitable that he will begin killing for one reason or another. We can only hope that he didn't lose his mind and start targeting innocents at will. Dexter is going to kill all the other serial killers recruited by Prater. Dexter is a psychotic serial killer, but he is one that lives and kills by a relatively strict code. He vows never to hurt an innocent as one of the primary rules of that code, but do any other serial killers abide by that? Dexter kills killers. He sees what he does as taking out the garbage and protecting people who, in his eyes, actually deserve to live. That may not make it right, but it creates a moral gray area that sparks internal conflict for those who mull it over. That said, we don't know what motivates the other killers in Resurrection to do what they do. It is yet to be revealed, but in the event that they are targeting or have targeted innocents in the past, it would give Dexter free range to kill them all according to his code. And given the amount of serial killers that Prater gathered all in one city, it would be easy enough for Dexter to begin picking them off one by one. Plus, if he managed to ingratiate himself with Prater and the other killers, it would be hard to even realize he was the culprit before it was too late. An interesting add-on to this theory is that maybe it's what Prater wanted all along. In the Resurrection trailer, Prater more or less says that he is overjoyed to meet Dexter. We know he runs a cybersecurity company that may have provided him a lot of information on the MOs of these killers, including Dexter. Prater is also known as a philanthropist, someone who uses their immense wealth to assist those in need. We know he has ties with the government in some capacity because his head of security, depicted by Uma Thurman, is a former special ops operative. By rounding up every serial killer he can find and bringing them to one location, he may have sought to recruit Dexter only in order to take them all on his own dime. And because most serial killers live off the grid already, no one would be concerned or suspicious if these people were no longer around. With or without Prater's approval, it still makes complete sense that Dexter would kill off the other serial killers. I mean, this has been his MO since episode 1 of the original series. And even if he felt some sort of connection with these other killers, outside of Hannah McKay, that has never stopped him from killing other killers before. He killed his best friend, Miguel Prado, he killed the family man, Trinity killer Arthur Mitchell, and even his own brother, Brian Moser, the ice truck killer. There is just no chance that a newly invigorated and recently suppressed Dexter would spare any of these people if they have been targeting innocent civilians in their own murder sprees. Batista teams up with Angela to catch Dexter and maybe dies. Angela Bishop almost certainly has a deep-seated resentment for Dexter Morgan. After wooing her and becoming her boyfriend, he went on to target the members of the community she swore to protect. He led her on wild goose chases and tried to gaslight her into believing that she was totally off base about his crimes. All of that only to kill her friend and coworker Logan and leave her to discover the body. She watched him traumatize his own son, which, as a result, probably hurt her daughter Audrey, who had become quite fond of Harrison before he shot his dad and had to run away from Iron Lake. Despite all of that, she was nice enough to save his life rather than let him bleed out in the snow, most likely believing that he would face proper justice after he was discharged from the hospital. But the trailer shows us that Dexter escaped the hospital, no doubt further enraging Angela when she found out, meaning that unless she tracked him down again, no justice was on the horizon. We also know that after running into Batista at a police conference in New York, Angela began to unravel the truth behind Dexter's identity. She continued to work with him through the end of New Blood, and even anticipated his arrival in Iron Lake before Dexter broke out of prison. Seeing Angel in the trailer only confirms that they were never going to let this go. He visits Dexter in the hospital, and even after Dexter escapes and flees to New York City, Batista is seen yet again speaking with Harrison,
This is the dark path you're going down.
who lives in the same city. Batista is a great detective, and working with Angela would only heighten his ability to track Dexter down and bring him in. They have a similar goal, even if operating with different motivations. Angela and Angel have already built a rapport that would make the idea of them teaming up completely plausible.
Her new friend. She don't mind who I flirt with as long as I bring home la pasión. La pasión. Yeah, it keeps the relation.
The only problem is that Angel has a deep relationship with Dexter. They were basically like brothers at one point. Even after hearing Chief Bishop out, Angel still hugs Dexter and speaks to him warmly in the trailer. Would he ever really try to bring harm to Dexter, even if it was his job? With the full episode list out, we can see that the penultimate episode of the first season of Resurrection is titled Touched by an Angel, and the finale is titled And Justice for All. Does Angel finally catch up with Dexter? Could Dexter kill Angel himself if it meant remaining free? He considered killing Angela and did kill Officer Logan, so it's not outside the realm of possibility for this very reason. Hopefully Angel and Angela are able to make it out alive, but we all know what usually happens to people who figure out Dexter's secret. Hannah McKay is actually still alive. This is perhaps one of the most outlandish theories, but some fans are speculating that Dexter's old flame, Hannah McKay, faked her own death and is actually still alive. Last we saw of Hannah, she had fled Miami with Dexter's son Harrison to live in Argentina and avoid rearrest. It's stated in New Blood that she died of pancreatic cancer while there, essentially leaving Harrison an orphan until he discovered that Dexter was actually still alive and managed to track him to Iron Lake. It would be a difficult stunt to pull off, but Hannah was a master manipulator and was able to pull off similar, though less dramatic, stunts in the past to avoid facing the consequences of her actions. She was a killer like Dexter, but unlike Dexter, Hannah seemed to kill more for personal convenience and less for the thrill of it. She was highly motivated by her desire to stay out of prison, and if the authorities ever did manage to track her to Argentina after all those years, even her love for Harrison may not have been enough to keep her on the map. So some people have offered up the idea that she is still very much alive and may find her way back to Dexter and Harrison in Resurrection. This would be a major plot twist in the Dexter universe, but they have been known to create unbelievable storylines before. After all, this entire new installment follows the explosive ending of New Blood that should have meant certain death for Dexter. He also survived Hurricane Laura at the end of the original series, against all logic. Some people have pushed back, suggesting that because Hannah was not in the trailer, she is not going to be revived in this sequel. But Angela and many others who are known to be in the show were also absent in the trailer, so that is not guaranteed that she will not make a reappearance. Not everyone cared for Hannah's character in Dexter and believe he would have been better off without her, But even so, the writers liked her enough to include her in 2 seasons of the show and leave Harrison with her, so who knows?